Here's the snapback. Here's the kick. He's got the leg into it. If it is good, and it is! Austin Stars, a 49-yard field goal, and Indiana leads 27-24.
Oh, it's an end around one to throw. Page looking at the quarterback, and it's a touchdown! Page finds Leno!
Penix rolling out of the pocket to a strong hand. Delivers deep down the field. Caught, touchdown! Fry Fogel again.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the LEO podcast. This is not your host, Michael Bragg, but you can find me, Brandon Dubich, at Brandon Dubich. Spelled traditionally. Well, I got to get into it. You know I never follow the script. What is Dubich untraditionally? Like, what's the opposite of that intro, Seth?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I've never understood it. It. Spelled tradition. There's nothing traditional about
Brandon
Dubich or
Brandon part. Yeah. You could be an EN, I guess. That's the only
an An.
Oh, then it's Brandon.
Anyway, if you haven't been able to tell right now, I'm with former high school DB producer Seth, and you know what? Don't block him. He's going to be a great follow during March Madness, especially if Purdue has the March that all us IU fans think they have. So follow him at SETAH5, spelled untraditionally, STSETAH 5. What's up, Seth?
So 3 weeks and nothing but wins. Awesome. Cool. IU fans are awesome. Love them. Best people on earth. God's country. All that stuff, right?
Of course. Well, what we got today is spring football started. And with spring football comes position battles. So that's what we're going to talk today. We're going to talk position battles at quarterback, at running back, at wide receiver. As we mentioned, there isn't much depth on the offensive line, so I don't think there's many battles there. As much as IU rotates on the defensive line, we're going to leave that out because basically who's a starter and who's second doesn't really matter much with how IU plays on the defensive line. We are going to talk some position battles on the linebacker front, and then also on safety because of corners being so thin. So we're going to cover almost every position group, if that says anything about where the team's at going into the 2023 season. But and then we're going to follow the rest of it. We're going to go Brando's Randos, Seth Sack, and then we're going to get out of here. Try to make this a quick one because, again, I think all of us have regularly scheduled March programming to watch. I'm currently watching DePaul beat Xavier. What are you watching, Seth?
Yeah, I got the same thing on because I am waiting for the Maryland-Minnesota game, and this is the only one I have money on right now. So
there we go.
Let's go X.
I had such a bad gambling weekend last weekend that I think I'm sitting this one out, which would have been good because I would have lost all of them so far. I've been wrong on about everything, so that's good for my bank account, I guess.
I definitely had to take Monday and Tuesday off.
Yeah, last weekend was brutal, man.
Yeah,
I couldn't pick a broadside of a barn yesterday. But all right, let's jump into the position battle. The biggest one, and Bragg made the outline. It's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good outline. But we got 4 guys battling for one spot here. And those 4 guys are Brock Lowry. He is a true freshman. We got Brendan Sorsby, who we saw a little bit in the Penn State game. He's a redshirt freshman. We got Taven Jackson, who is a redshirt freshman, the Tennessee transfer. And then for walk-on sake, we got good old Blaine McKibben, who I don't know, looks like he's 24 years old, transfer from Long Beach City College, and was at Fresno State before that. So Seth, I got before we go into this, I need to know your grade on this room as it is in spring football.
I think I gave it a C or a C plus with maybe a B or B plus ceiling. I think this is going to be a longer frame that I have, as there's a lot of guys. I just don't know if any of them are good. I think ultimately this is a position where you said it's the biggest position, but it should be the easiest. This is where you throw in the redshirt freshman quarterback and you just pray to God he's good, or at least shows signs of improvement that you can stick with him over the course of 4 seasons. So you don't have to ask this question year in and year out. This needs to be a generational quarterback. Give him the reins, get out of the way. Don't even talk about anyone else. Stop.
We're an IU football podcast. So we're definitely going to talk about the other guys, but I think you and I share near identical takes on this. But let's first start with the freshman, Brock Lowry, coming in as we've all kind of painted him as the Peyton Ramsey of the group. He can do enough with his legs. He has enough of an arm. He comes from a very winning program. He comes very decorated. Now I know you don't subscribe to Peegs.com, but everyone should. It is well worth the $10 a month. But do you want to know who stands out the most according to Matt Weaver of Peegs? Mr. Brock Lowry. I mean, we're what, five practices into this thing. But according to the reports, Brock Lowry looks the best so far, making the most plays. So just something to note. Next, we have Brendan with an A-N, but with an E as well. Brendan. This is Bragg's boy. Can we call him that? Go BB? Bragg's boy? I'm going to go with it. It doesn't sound great, but I'm going with it anyway. Dual threat guy. He's from Texas. Brandon from Texas. He did not look good in the limited snaps against Penn State.
Sure didn't.
He looked terrified. You know that one gif of that Oklahoma State quarterback shaking? I'm sure Brendan Sorsby would have been doing the exact same thing. But he's built of the same ilk of Brock Lowry. It's definitely apparent what kind of guy they're going after, right?
But let's be fair. Like, anybody put in that situation, he was ill-equipped. He was unprotected. Anybody would be diddling down their legs. He just
saw Tuttle die. He literally just saw Tuttle. He sprained his wrist. He broke his ribs. He bruised his collarbone. Like, Tuttle just got in like a major car accident on the field.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, in that position, you're not in position to succeed. You're ultimately a ragdoll crash test dummy. You're just thrown behind an ineffective line against an awesome pass rush. And he was just a sitting duck. It was unfortunate. And so you say, yeah, he didn't look good, but who would have? That's not completely fair to him. So it's an Etch-a-Sketch. You erase that immediately and you give him an entire year to grow. Who knows? And I don't understand Bragg's fascination with him, but good for him. They can be buddies. They can write letters to each other.
Everyone needs a pen pal. I'm going to skip over Blaze. If anything comes out of Blaze and practice notes or anything like that, we can cover him more in depth later.
He's got good size, though. So as far as walk-ons go, good size.
There we go.
Yay.
But you're right. I mean, we've already spent more time on this than we should have. You absolutely give the keys to the car to Taven. Like, This isn't a make you earn it new guy. And
it's not like it's a Ferrari that you have to you have to have a guy who has some kind of touch. It's literally just like, it's a Miata. Throw him in. Brad will love that joke if he listens.
The future kind of depends on this, right? Like, I'm always trying to make analogies here, but like this is your first round quarterback. This is your top 10. You drafted him basically.
And
You
this is the
need
coach
to
putting
play
his
him.
job on the line for the quarterback. This is that mutual symbiotic relationship where if the quarterback works, this coach gets paid and he stays.
Yep. If he doesn't, here we go,
We're having
coaching
yep.
hot board.
Here we go.
Let's put it together. No,
And I'm
I
calling
agree.
up Kane Womack's agent again.
Matt Weaver wasn't explicit in what he said. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna try to rip his entire article, but he didn't say anyone was blatantly playing with the ones, which I think is a mistake. It is a mistake. You give Taven all of the wide receiver ones, running back ones, O-line one reps. But I have a question about that here later in Brando's Randos. So
Well, I mean, I think we've seen that lack of commitment be an issue in the past where you just want them to make the decision, stick with it at some point. And sometimes they, are hesitant to do that.
Beyond me. All right, let's jump to running back room. And this one, I'm curious where Bragg was going with this in a position.
I was surprised
because I think this is about as clear cut as possible. Bragg has 5 guys. Again, I'll mention the walk on because he has them on this outline, and I will read the outline. But he has redshirt freshman David Holloman, redshirt freshman Trent Howland, walk-on redshirt freshman Declan McMahon. Do you want to tell the listeners who may not know who Declan McMahon is?
No, because I don't know who he is. How am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know who that is?
He is Shane McMahon's son and Vince McMahon's grandson.
I feel even better that I forgot that. I do remember you saying that. Okay, cool. Good for you guys. I do love WWE.
I know you do. That's why
I
haven't watched WWF since probably 2000.
But
you know what I did?
The Royal Rumble brings me in every year.
Speaking of that, I went over to. I have a buddy who's like super, super, super into it. One night, all we did was like drink whiskey and watch like the Royal Rumbles from like the 80s to like the early 2000s. They're like on. You can find them on YouTube, and they're really like 45 minutes of action. So like we watched them in like we watched like a decade and a half of Royal Rumbles in like 5 hours and got
the year where Mick Foley comes out as all 3 of his characters. Oh, sorry. Yeah, they're just. Anyways, let's get back to running backs.
Cool. So yeah. So again, if David Holloman, Trent Howland, and Declan are even in the picture, either the injury bug hit or the season went off the rails. The 3 guys that I think they're all going to get run and they're all 1A, B, and C is Jalen Lucas, we all know, freshman All-American, Christian Turner, transfer from Wake Forest, previously at Michigan, and probably the MVP of this podcast, Josh Henderson, the returning guy at almost 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, which is he always seemed to find the end zone. His yardage was low because I think he was underused and underutilized last year. But Seth, my question to you is, first snap against Ohio State, week 1, who is lined up in the backfield taking the first handoff?
It's Josh Henderson. It's unquestionable. He is a 3-down back. He is the best pass protector on the team. Again, I haven't seen all these guys in spring practice, but judging off of last year's results, he's the best runner. He was the best pass protector. He was decent coming out of the backfield in the pass game. He has to be the at least 2.5 down back. The problem is in the Big Ten and in all of college football, you have to have 2.5 running backs. So it's okay to have an A, a B, and a C. That's not like the insult. But Josh Henderson has to be the 1A.
Agreed.
And go from there.
Agreed. There was someone that stood out of this group. I'm going to quit stealing from Matt Weaver's thing, but there was one that stood out, and it's not who you may think it is. So I'm going to leave it at that. How many touches a game should Jalen Lucas get? Not just
12.
out of the backfield in general. 12?
12. Yeah.
And I think 12 to 15. Yeah, I think it's got to be in that low teens.
8 of them need to be receptions. He needs to be a high volume receiver. If they're Walt Bell, we've seen do that short passing game. That needs to be the lateral pass, the short pass, the quick screens, the quick curls. He needs to be highly utilized in that game. He's effective.
I'm gonna keep trying to find. Do you ever listen to the morning show on 107.5?
I listen to nothing.
You listen to nothing? Well, there's Jake Query's on there, and he always is constantly trying to find analogies. I feel like I'm trying to pull a bit from him. I swear I'm not. But my analogy for Jalen Lucas, as I talk to you, how similar can he be part of a game plan like that Rondale Moore was? Jalen Lucas isn't Rondale Moore, but can he be used as Rondale Moore light?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a good comparison. I don't think he's as polished maybe as a route runner, but he definitely has the capacity to get there, and he definitely has that same kind of human joystick element where it's just about getting the ball in his hands in a dynamic position to make a one-on-one move or to have an outflanked situation where there's 2 blockers and 2 tacklers and all he has to do is hit the edge. That's really what you're looking for. And the more weapons you have like that, the more dangerous you can be, the more versatile, the more variable, the more multiple. Yep. I hate all those terms. They always use them interchangeably.
It's because you just got done watching the combine. You know, you got all those combine words.
He's multiple. He's a multiple. Yeah.
No, I hear you. I think it's got to be, like I said, in the 12 to 15. And you're right. I mean, it needs to be 50-50 split. You said 8 receptions. I don't care how you split it. But it needs
or at least targets, maybe not full receptions, but yeah.
Needs to be dynamic. And
those are high completion plays too. So
we just talked. Bragg's better at the stats than I am, but there's probably 75 snaps, right, that you roughly get in a Walt Bell offense. You need to have, in my opinion, this needs to be a run heavy team, so you're probably looking at 40 plays to the running backs. So I think it should go about 20, oh man, maybe more than maybe 45, maybe 20, 15, and 10. I don't know.
I think there will be a direct correlation to the number of rush attempts and the number of wins this season. I just think
I like that. I like that.
I don't know. That hasn't always been the case. There's been a lot of pass happy offenses at IU, but this has got to be a different way to. This has got to be a different offense. And this has to be the way that they eventually win. Has to be run happy.
Yep. Totally agree. All right, let's jump to the absolute logjam that is wide receiver, because I think this is the position battle I had circled when we talked about doing this position battle podcast. And I think Bragg did a really good job of listing out all the options. And I got to admit, I get sucked into the wide receiver room every year, Seth. I'm sucked in again. Wide receiver 1 is unquestionably Cam Camper. When he gets back, everything looks to be good. He's in a red jersey. He's participating in drills, but he's not really practicing much, which I think is the absolute safe play. Cam Camper does not need to practice. He's already went through a full off season with this team. So that's wide receiver 1 slated in. But Bragg here has wide receiver 2 through 4, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys listed. I think you can kind of write out 2 of these, but I think you have 5 guys fighting for 3 spots. So the 2 guys that I would kind of necessarily write off, because I think they got a ton of pedigree, is Cameron Perry. He's again right cut from the Shane Wynn, Ja'Shawn Harris, DJ Matthews cloth, but I just think he's a little too small at a redshirt freshman. So he's gonna probably get some playing time, but he's not gonna be a starter. Jacquez Smith, which came out as a 4-star recruit, big guy. Grant Hurd, he was a Grant Hurd guy, really, really good size. He'll be a redshirt sophomore. But the 5 guys I want to talk about is the new guy from Fordham that I love, DeCuse Carter. I think he's a starter personally. So what I think is you got 4 guys, 2 that are going to really rotate on the inside or on the outside. And that's EJ Williams, Omar Cooper, Anderson Kobe, and Donovan McCulley. Take 2 out of 4, Seth. Who are you picking out of those 2? Or out of those 4?
I think Omar makes a little bit more sense at slot.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of a tweener. He's that like kind of 6'1", 180, 190, which kind of could go either way. So I think but I think there's a little bit of a backlog at slot too. So it's tough to see. Exactly
so I could
where
see
he
him
fits
backing
in.
up DeCuse Carter. So maybe you got Carter number 1 in the slot, Cooper number 2 in the slot, and Perry is number 3 in the slot.
But I also think the great unknown is I think Lucas probably plays 20 snaps at slot receiver too.
Yeah.
I think if he's the jackknife that he's supposed to be, that's you would expect him to say, if he has 10 touches in the backfield or 10 snaps in the backfield, 20 at the receiver spot. That's kind of how I would expect it to be, at least.
I know.
Yeah,
I bring up NCAA football. The most unstoppable play is the 4 wide out read option. If they could get that going with both Lucas and Carter on the slots and Henderson and Taven in the backfield, buddy, does that get on? Does that get fun? But sorry, I interrupted you. But so that means you really got Anderson, Kobe, Amar, or Donovan McCulley, and EJ Williams. Pick the other guy starting opposite Cam Camper.
My heart tells me Donovan McCulley. My head tells me EJ Williams. And I just think that he's a bigger body. He has a Clemson pedigree. So you would have to hope that he has a translatable skill that can be immediately utilized. And I think he's kind of the guy that you prototypical outside receiver. I'll let you talk more about Anderson Kobe. He had flashes last year. I just think he was ultimately inconsistent. And I think he can definitely make the rotational play, but do you want to count on him as a number 2 out wide? I don't know if he's there yet. Maybe the growth in the offseason is what he's had. I just have to see it to believe it.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, Anderson Kobe's going to be a junior. His best stretch of football was at the end of the season. We don't need to talk. He
definitely came on strong. You're right.
He also cost us a game. Do we need to talk about it? We don't need to talk about it.
I'm trying to focus on the positive after I said negative things.
So, yeah, I mean, the only thing Anderson Kobe is consistent with is being inconsistent, though he did have a strong end of the season. It has to be EJ Williams for me, especially if we want to be a transfer university, right? If we can take EJ Williams, who is a 5-star recruit, had a underwhelming career at Clemson, and then he busts onto the scene at IU, that's a story you can sell, right? Yeah. I don't think
it's the ultimate caterpillar moth or caterpillar butterfly,
Yeah, no, exactly. So I think for IU, EJ Williams becoming that, getting half a dozen touchdowns and having 50, 60 catches. I think that IU needs that if they really want to lean in being a portal team. Also, from early reports, this was a video put out by IU. He had an insane toe tap, like not quite Odell, but like Odell-ish type touchdown at the back of the end zone. Which that's what he is, right? He's a Mike Evans, throw the ball up. I'm going to out athlete you and outsize you in the end zone. So that's my guess. Again, don't want to leave out Donovan McCulley because last year was really his rookie year being a wide receiver. You really like to see that sophomore jump. And he's being a junior, but for all intents and purposes, he's a sophomore wide receiver. So yeah, I would expect a jump there, but wide receiver room, is it the best room IU has?
It's definitely one of the top ones. I think, again, you got a lot of guys. You don't know how good some of them are, but if you have 2 or 3 that turn out to be pretty damn good, you can roll with them and you can turn it into a pretty good offense. That's the difference between probably that, kind of C grade that I gave for the quarterback and the B grade. That's really the difference. Is do these guys become dynamic playmakers who can extend yardage beyond the catch? Do they have that yard after catch capability? Do they have that, where they can put a defensive back in a blender and really make that break that either after catch or pre-catch gets them open? A lot of this we just haven't seen yet. Yeah.
I like pre-catch. You got yak. You got pack.
Well,
and anyway.
No, it's just the idea. I mean, when you make those breaks, you got to create the separation. A lot of those are those dynamic moves that create the separation in the route.
Yep. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. Cool. Yeah, that covers the wide receiver room. I love our freaking running back room. I love our wide receiver room. Offensive line scares me to freaking death. And man, I'll admit, quarterback is scary too. But I love the wide receiver room. I love the running back room. Let's jump to the defensive side of the ball, and Bragg wants to talk linebackers. I like this room too. IU runs a 4-2-5, so you really need about 4 guys. I think the real position battle is who's the 4th guy. Seth, is that kind of your read of the room as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, and you talked about how we're not talking D-line because there's so much rotation. I think we've again found that Tom Allen loves rotational, situational linebackers. He tended to play the same linebackers in passing downs every single time he thought it was passing down. It's play the same linebackers for running downs. I think we're going to see a lot of that again. I think it's going to be a lot of Matt Holt on first downs. And he was really effective against the run, so that's not a problem. But I really think I don't want to say they're interchangeable, but I think they're going to be situationally rotated, and we're going to have to we've come to expect that. And we're going to have to continue to see that.
Yep. Yeah. So Aaron Casey's going to be the mainstay. He was, I think, the surprise of the defense last year, especially when Cam went down. Aaron Casey, the beast from Canada, was a defense was rated like 93rd, 96, a largely bad, borderline horrific defense. Aaron Casey was one of the few bright spots on it. Jared Casey comes back, who's fine, right? Jared Casey.
Yeah.
Serviceable. I think Daryl Minor is going to be serviceable. The 3 guys that I'm actually like kind of super excited about are the 2 guys are Isaiah Jones and Caden Turner. I both thought they looked really, really good. Last time you and I were on a podcast was kind of a preseason podcast where we said, kind of get the veterans get out of the way and let the young guys. That's kind of how I feel about Isaiah Jones and Caden Turner when you talk about Jared Casey and Daryl Minor. I think Jared Casey and Daryl Minor are probably better in September, but I think the progression of Isaiah Jones and Caden Turner could prove to be really fruitful in October and November. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're spot on here. I think a lot of times when you see veterans start the season, it's because they want to have the more experienced guy. They're more comfortable with him. And then as you progress, sometimes when you see the freshmen or the younger guys coming to replace the older guys, you're like, oh, is that a bad thing? Did that guy do something wrong? Is he, not up to snuff? But a lot of times it's because they're finally gaining the confidence, or the players, I should say, the younger players are starting to gain the confidence of the coaches so they can actually get put out there. And a lot of times they're the better athletes or the better players. They just don't quite have that seasoning or experience to be able to be trusted on in high pressure situations. So I think ultimately what you want to see is in October, these guys playing more, and maybe less in September, but that should be a good sign rather than a bad sign.
Yeah, I mean, because you lose after this year, you lose Casey, and Minor, which would be a horrible law firm. That's like not even a good law firm name. So Jones, Holt, and Turner are the future at linebacker. And I really like that. I don't think any of those 3 are impact linebackers in 2023, but I really like the prospect of those 3 rotating at linebacker. I mean, none of them are going to be instant NFL guys, but they could be 2 to 3 year starters. at linebacker. I kind of like the positional depth there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always nice to know where the next wave is coming from and
Yep.
having that kind of stabilizing force up front.
Yep.
But ultimately, you want to see that changing of the guard happen, and this year would, later in the season would be a great time for it to happen.
I kind of feel like the linebacker room is kind of meh for 2023, but I really like the prospect of it. I feel the same about the offensive line. Like I really like the underclassmen in the linebacker. I really like the underclassmen out the offensive line. You got Carter Smith, you got Demon Moore, you got Josh Sales, you got Fiacable, you got Knight. I mean, and they haven't played, right? The offensive line. You look at the starters, and the starters like, well, we've seen them. They haven't really done anything. But those are two position groups that I think are like pretty C plus rooms in 2023. But the guys behind them, like you said, the next wave is a great term there. I like the next wave in both of those position groups.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, it's just getting there gracefully. I think that's the hard thing, is you just don't want there to be that steep where you're taking losses in order to get them the experience. So, it's tough to throw those guys into the fire of Ohio State week 1. So it's nice to have some of those senior guys to rely on with the experience, but you got to find the balance, and you got to wager the weights of developing players and exposing people.
Yep. Also, Matt Holt with a red jersey, not participating in spring. Bragg doesn't have that noted, but I did read that. Hopefully he's okay. I haven't heard anything that he won't be able to practice in training camp, but he's not practicing it in spring. Let's jump to another really thin group. Bragg has 4 guys listed for 3 spots, so that doesn't even really fill out a 2 deep. If you want to go back and listen to our 2 deep, we did that 2 weeks ago. So yeah, Josh Sangetti, which was huge, keeping him removing the name. Phil Dunham, who got a lot of run, but reminded me a lot of Bryant. And Bonds, he had a rough freshman campaign, but clearly they believe in him. Jordan Greer, who got some run, not a lot, and then you have the Stanford transfer in Nick Toomer. We said it in the 2 deep. We don't know who's going to play what safety position. Which guy out of this group do you trust the most? And which guy do you have the most concerns for?
So that's a trick question. So the answer has to be Josh Sanguinetti, because he's the one that I've seen the highest end on. Phil Dunham, I've seen play.
How many times did I say his name when he just got torched at Nebraska over and over? I think your wife and son probably have me ingrained just yelling his name. Unfortunately.
And then Greer, again, we've seen play very little, so it's hard to have any confidence in that. So the answer has to be Josh Sanguinetti. The one I'm most afraid of is Nick Toomer, and the reason why is because you never know what you get when you get a transfer. He could end up being kind of a Charlie Jones guy who you're like, how the hell did this guy not get on the field at Iowa? And he turns out to be a stud. Or he could just be like, oh, okay, we're glad we just had another player on the team to provide depth. You never know. And so I think he has the biggest question mark. But I mean, I could have answered either of the other 2 for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Nick Toomer. Nick Toomer. Yeah. He either makes or breaks this group, right? Which is unfortunate for the kid, right? Right. Because he either brings you veteran depth, or he's a guy you can't rely on, and now you're forced to play the Dunhams and Greers of the world, and that could be rough. We've unfortunately seen the last 3 or 4 seasons. It seems like in every big moment, a safety kind of doesn't make the play.
I mean, here's the fear. It's, You kick the ball. It's the first weekend against Ohio State. You kick the opening kickoff out the back of the end zone. Ohio State gets the ball to 25, and Ryan Day will match up Marvin Harrison Jr. Against a safety on the first play of the game, and he will go for 75 yards. It will happen. Maybe not the first play. Okay, fine. But you get my point.
Oh, absolutely.
He will find the mismatch and he will exploit it. So who on September whatever date gives you the least chance of giving up that touchdown? That's ultimately who you're going to have to go with. And I don't know who the hell that person is, but Josh Sanguinetti has the inside shot. I would have to guess at being one of them. I mean, it's roll the dice at this point. You just hope that somebody comes to the surface.
Yeah, I do want to put out there because, again, IU runs at 4-2-5. Noah Pierre is coming back. He's going to be at that Husky position. So he locks that down. But Noah Pierre isn't stopping Marvin Harrison Jr. That's going to have to be a deep safety. So, like I said, I think you can rely on Sangetti a little bit, but I think Toomer is going to be, can he solidify that second safety? If not, yikes. You know who you can rely on? That is our sponsor, Monon Track Club. MTC is Indiana's running brand, built on a deep love for the sport and the Hoosier State. They craft products, tell stories, and create experiences that aim to celebrate, support, and add to Indiana's running culture. Check out the link in the show notes for more details on their club runs and to shop their sick gear, from shirts to hoodies to koozies. The weather is getting nicer. It's going to be summer before you know it. You need to get that summer pool bod. Get out there, get some gear from Monon Track Club, and go put some miles on your shoes. As a thank you to the listeners, we're going to off 10% off your order. No, it's not Black Friday any soon. You're not going to see Memorial deals soon. Where are you getting 10% off? From LEO10 at checkout at Monon Track Club. Now back to the show. So we're going to jump into Brando's Randos. I have a few here, then we're going to get out of here because Minnesota's got a close. And as a Hoosier fan, I'm very interested in that game. So my first question, I think, Seth, how important is spring practice? Honestly, how important?
When I was a kid, we didn't remember what spring practice was. I don't know. I mean, like when I was younger, it wasn't a big deal. It was kind of a recruiting day where you'd kind of bring in anybody who had a pulse and bring them and say, hey, welcome to Purdue or welcome to ISU or wherever it was. And it really wasn't a big deal other than as a way to get kids in and excited about the program. Now it's turning into this whole kind of second season where there's position battles. You have the pre-spring transfers, the post-spring transfers. So I think that's really where it becomes the biggest thing, is who can solidify positions and who gets scared and runs away. And then how do you capitalize on that new secondary transfer market? So I think the spring system is huge, more from a player personnel standpoint than really from a, excitement about the program or even recruiting anymore.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think this is, you get a lay of the land, and that's about it. I don't think, they're not putting in full offenses. They're not putting in full defenses. They're not running full strength. They're not doing Oklahoma drills. I know nobody does Oklahoma drills.
Do you know who clicks on every single random, Twitter handle releases too deep of X football team? Me. Clicking on it. Oh, I can't wait to see what the Oklahoma State 2 deep looks like. Yeah. Oh, they're going to run a 4-2-5 again this year. Yeah. I get a hard on for it every time.
We're also addicts. We put the fanatic in fan for sure. All right. Next question here is talking about spring ball. If we polled Alabama Crimson Tide fans, do they care more about their basketball team being a 1 seed in March Madness, or do they care more about the Alabama spring football game?
So this is a loaded question, because I think a lot of people are tired of the Alabama basketball narrative that's going on right now. And by all accounts, Alabama football is a much safer conversation to be having. So, I don't know. It's one of those weird things where it's like, do you hate the team because some really unfortunate situation happened? Do you hold something against that? So I think it gives them a really nice reprieve. And Alabama will always be football crazy more than they are basketball crazy. And I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation, to be honest with you. But I think there's probably a lot of people who don't really give a shit about basketball right now and are just, balls deep in Crimson Tide football.
More fans at the round of 64 game for Alabama or at the spring football game?
Spring football game. I mean,
Yeah,
they'll
hands
put
down.
45, 50,000 in there.
Absolutely. All right. So last offseason, Tom Allen went full secret mode. No media, no spring football game. He isn't going full media tour, but he is opening things up. Do you think that's a good move? And why or why not? Do you think the change happened?
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those things that sometimes coaches will outsmart themselves. A lot of them will be like, "Well, I don't want to give any competitive edge whatsoever." And by being media silent or being, cloak and dagger or never announcing who your starting quarterback is until the opening drive, it's all that kind of gamesmanship that I think isn't really a big deal when it all comes down to anything. So it's hard to say for sure, but I definitely like it because we're in an age of social media content. You got to pump the content. You got to keep recruits engaged. You got to keep people talking about the program. So, giving them little, razzles and dazzles here and there to get people interested, keep talking about it. I think that's what you got to do in this age.
And hey, Coach Allen, social media is your friend. You're a
Yeah.
social media darling. That's literally what you're good at. People
You're a
gravitate.
human coach meme.
Yes.
That's what sells right now.
I wish I loved what they did 2 years ago when you just saw them everywhere. We were bragging up how good the IU social media, Twitter and Instagram was. Why not bring that back? The program needs any sort of shot of adrenaline they can get. So, I feel like they're hybrid modeling it right now. They're not going full, 2020 one, but they're also not going as dark as 2022. So I guess it's a step in the right direction. That's all I got for Randos.
All right. So here's my sack today. I just got the one question for you. All right. So this feels like one of those Friday of college tournament week drive time sports talk show questions. As we're both keeping one eye on kind of the conference tournament, and I'm trying to flip back to Maryland, Minnesota here. Are you one of the guys who says it's not a big deal if we lose early in the tournament because the rest is good? Or, and because if you end up winning the tournament, you could wear yourselves out and, end up holding you back potentially in March Madness. What's your stake on this? Are you a big momentum guy? Are you a rest guy? Are you a overexhaust the team guy? What's your thoughts on this?
I hate you never want to go full Dockage, but I'm going to go full Dockage here.
Oh God.
18 to 21-year-olds can't get tired. Like that's just
verbatim.
That's just BS. So I don't get the whole rested up. I think this time of the year, you have to believe in yourself, right? To go on a run, you have to believe you can do it. So I want to win as many games as possible. I think IU has found out, at least the basketball team, that conference championships really don't matter, right? Like they don't affect seeding as much as we, the fans, think they do. So, I see it everywhere. Like, oh, if we win, we can move up a seed line. No, if we lose on Friday, we're not dropping to a 5. If we make it to Sunday, we're not dropping to a 3. IU is a 4 seed. They're a 4 seed no matter what. They should win at least one game, try to win it all just so they can get some wins. That's what this team needs. They need to know that they can win on a neutral court. They need to know that they can win against other tournament teams. That's what's important. Go try to win it all. And don't worry about getting tired.
Okay. That's all I got.
Really going to end on me going full Dockich? It's not great. It's not great.
No.
Not great. Well, guys, that's our position battles. I think we'll probably kind of keep this rotation go on every 2 weeks. Next time we chat, IU basketball played a couple of games. Next time we chat, spring football will be over. So we'll probably do some kind of like post spring football review.
Here, I got one spoiler for you. There is a former IU basketball player on the selection committee. I say he hands IU a 3 seed and gives you the weakest 14. I think you guys get a weird little bump, an extra favor.
So, okay. All right. Since we're going to go full basketball podcast, do you want the worst 1 seed or do you want the best 2 seed, Seth, for Purdue?
Part of me would prefer the best 2.
Yeah, I think you got to go that.
We've been the hunted for a large part of the season, and it would be nice to be kind of a little not under the radar, because I think still having National Player of the Year and all that stuff, you're not getting off the radar, but I think it just gives you a little bit less of a spotlight.
Yeah, no, I mean, and even if you get the worst 1, you're only going east, right? Because they'll give UCLA the 1 in the West, they'll give Kansas the 1 in the Midwest, and they'll give Alabama the 1 in the South.
Yeah, and I think we should play the first 2 games, and I think it's Columbus or Louisville regardless. So, like, you know, how bad? It's, 3 hours to Columbus from West Lafayette and 3 hours to Louisville. So,
yeah.
I mean, can't complain too much about that.
No. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to go watch some college basketball. I'm sure you are too. Guys,
gamble.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and review. That's how we get our name out there. Follow or subscribe to @PodcastLEO on Twitter. Thank you guys. Love you guys. LEO. He said it.
LEO.
Awesome day. LEO.
Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate that. LEO.
All right, great. LEO.
Appreciate you guys. LEO.
You're welcome, Dave. Have a great day. LEO.
Have a great day. LEO.
Appreciate you being here with us. Have an awesome day, and LEO.
Oh, thank you so much. LEO. Well, thanks so much. LEO.
Hey, thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate that. LEO.
Appreciate you guys, man. Have an awesome day. LEO.
Awesome. LEO.
LEO.